So let's see if Niji's gonna keep doing this crap, right? This is for tomorrow. Sun's entering Pisces. We're going into a new land with our ego and what's being illuminated. Now, Pisces energy being illuminated, Pisces is hidden energy. It's like 12th house energy. It's about secrets. It can be the undoing of somebody. It's also like codependencies and things like that. But it's also creativity. It actually deals with the entertainment industry, like Pisces energy, Neptune energy deals with like fame, Hollywood, things like that. The illusion that you're creating, which, you know, obviously illusions are playing a big part in what's happening right now. Like, what is the truth? So the sun moving in and illuminating this. Quick cliff notes. This is astrology. And yes, you can get cliff notes. Everyone can get cliff notes. I made these so that you can get cliff notes. This right here. Oh, nope, that's the camera again. Sorry. The cliff notes, planets. This right here, these are planet symbols, because what I'm showing you is an astrology chart. Now, this is not the pop astrology, the sun sign astrology, where people are just saying like Scorpios are good at sex and Geminis are two-faced. This is not that. This is like what I've been pulling this like psychological information from is literally charts. And like what I brought up before Nijisanji started doing this and predicted, I didn't know it was going to be them doing it, but I predicted somebody doing it. So like they're taking the cake with this. These right here are the symbols. We have the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Chiron. Chiron is not a planet. It's the wounded healer asteroid, which is very important because it brings up a lot of people's deepest, darkest hurtsies, and they can get very, very angry and very volatile when these things are brought up, or it can become like very emotional and like unable to do anything when these things are interacted with. That's why Chiron tends to yeah, everyone gets a cliff note, but like just knowing each of these glyphs, I will point at stuff as I'm talking to it so you can see what I'm talking about. And then we have the actual zodiacs themselves. We have Aries, Taurus, Gemini, like all the glyphs that go with these as well. And I was thinking of like actually putting these on my Kofi for like a free download if you guys just want to have like quick little things you can have to like look at things and like learn them yourselves. But this is for like all the zodiac signs. The main signs we're going to be talking about are going to be Pisces, Aquarius, and a little bit of Taurus is going to be going in there, and some Cancer because the moon is up here. You can see up here in 0 degrees Cancer, which is very important for this. And we might have a couple other ones we're talking about, but those are going to be the main players that we're talking about. And then we also have houses. This, along with planets, aspects, and zodiac signs, is how I get a lot of information. It's a little harder to get information on events because I don't have exact timings of a lot of events. This one I have an exact timing, and it's placed in New York. I'm not in New York. I just used it so I didn't have to convert times. But this specifically, this chart, we can read the energy that way if you want. If you're in New York, yeah, it's definitely going to feel that way for you. But it'll probably feel a little less intense in different areas other than New York with the specific house system. But yeah, all this like really gives you information. Like when I read personal charts for people, this comes a lot more into play because like you have like your birth time and your place and everything, and it like really creates the color of where everything happened in your houses and like where all your planets are, how they play with each other, you know, the dynamics they have. That's why you can paint an entire picture from birth to death for a person with their astrology chart, because it's literally what the chart is. It goes all the way. So like I can put these on Ko-Fi if people want these to have like little study tools for like astrology and stuff. I really don't mind if that's something you guys would like. Oh, I've clicked off the wrong thing. There we go. A little hard to see behind my camera. Okay. So since we have some little cliff notes, now I'm going to explain things as we're going along. Yeah, we're going to apply this to Nijisanji. So these next couple of charts, we're going to just, the charts that I have are for dates where things are changing next week, right? Like tomorrow, the sun is moving from Aquarius right here into Pisces. Like, so a lot of the things I talk about when they're moving signs, they're like shifting along the horizon here, right? So tomorrow, the energy, we're just going to look at this with everything that's been happening with Nijisanji. What is something they can do to either make things better or make things worse? And what will they decide? So having all these down here are what I've been talking about in the previous weeks. Like February 5th was when Mercury, this planet right here, came and hit conjunct exactly with Pluto. And then the other days where it was like, you know, the video came out, Mars was conjunct with Pluto. It's like there's been like every time there's been something lining up. Now they are not going to go conjunct with Pluto. But what we're going to look at, since they're kind of like slowly moving away from that energy, it's not going to be as intense, like all the things we've been dealing with in that way. Like these specific things are not going to be as intense. That does not mean there can't be new things. Because this moon right here is at 0 degrees. 0 degrees is the purest energy of that zodiac sign. Like when you have a 0 degree, it's not mixing with anything. It doesn't have anything really playing onto it and giving it a different flavor. And pure Cancer energy, there's two very distinct sides of it. There is the very nurturing, very mother-like, protective energy. It's very emotionally stable, it's very giving, and it's very nurturing. Like there's that side of it. Then there's the darker side, which is very emotionally manipulative. It brings this play on emotions. It can become very vindictive. It can become very spiteful. It can lash out and try to attack before getting the facts because it's emotionally reactive. That's the downside of pure Cancer energy, because it relies purely on instincts and emotion. It's a little crab walking sideways in its shell, looking out for predators. So when it doesn't feel safe, it's going to snap and attack. Now, I can tell you right now, Niji does not feel safe. You could tell from the things they have been doing. They do not feel safe. We also have... I really hope they don't come out and say something else that just really freaking damages them tomorrow. I mean, there's a setup for it. There really is a setup for them to put out another freaking statement, another video, another something that's really freaking damaging. I'm not gonna lie. There's a setup here for it. This Mercury at 22 degrees, and it's squaring Uranus. Uranus is surprises. It's unexpected shit. It's like the shock factor that comes through and just rocks everyone's world. It's been squaring all this stuff happening. It's been doing some things this entire time. It's having this square with Mercury and 22 degrees when you look into degree theory. It's a Capricorn degree, where the reason it has this connotation, like I have this in my own chart, of kill or be killed. You have to be the one persisting or you get stomped out. If they have this mindset, because Mercury isn't just communication, it's mindset. If they're having this mindset right now in their company that if they are not the one stomping Doki out, they are the one getting stomped out, and they're getting like really like amped up about it, which could very well be the case because there's a lot of squares going to Jupiter. Jupiter makes things bigger. Jupiter makes things, it's like Uranus is all about unpredictability, the shock factor, the lightning bolt striking. Jupiter is just like, I'm going to make it bigger and bigger and bigger, and for better or worse. That's literally what it's going to do. It's going to bless you with bigness. Now, the bigness that it's been blessing Nijisanji with is coverage. Coverage and coverage and coverage. And it's not been good coverage. And that's what's been happening to them. Striking, you say? So what's going to end up happening now is having all these squares, like it's inched off of Mercury, because Mercury moves fast. It's moved away. Now it's squaring Uranus, which is a whole nother ball game, but it's not squaring Jupiter. Jupiter is now squaring Pluto, Mars, and Venus. This kind of square, which has been going on, and which is why we see this energy building, but it didn't have the moon acting with it. It didn't have this emotional impulse acting with it. It had other things, like it had Taurus being exalted around Valentine's Day, giving a more stable feel. It had Gemini being a little more like aloof with it, being more about information. We haven't really had an emotional moon since around the time this happened. We haven't had the moon being in a sign where our emotions are going to go crazy. Aries is a little bit, Aries makes people want to fight. Moon in Aries is like your emotions is like pretty much like around the beginning of all this happening. Like the first week we had Moon in Aquarius, and then like the next week there was like some Aries, like everyone was fighting. Moon in Aries. It's like we haven't really had an emotional moon though since the beginning of all this happening. We're finally going into a phase where we're going to have an emotional moon, and at the time of this emotional moon is the exact time the sun moves into Pisces, which is also emotional. So all this time people have felt that there was, like, maybe they felt there was emotions in this. There's about to be emotions in this. Like, people have been very, like, detached. If Nijisanji, and they've been doing it every time I have said, if they do this, if they decide to act on this frazzled, freaked out, really butthurt energy with this Cancer moon up here, if they decide to act on it, it will not be good. They will come out with something with this 22-degree that is very damning. They might actually do the stupid thing of revealing some other things that they shouldn't reveal, which, oh my God. But it's like just to like send a point home or make something look good in the public opinion, because the only thing they're doing right now, because I'm pretty sure the company understands that Doki does not want a lawsuit. I'm pretty sure at this point with everything happening, they hopefully understand that, unless they're still being riled up by a very stupid interpreter that is telling them that she wants to take them to court. But at this point, they have to understand that. So what they're trying to do is sway public opinion to come back to them. Like, hey, we are great. Now, this could be a couple of different things. It's also unexpected because it's dealing with Uranus energy. It's not going to be, it's like the video. We didn't expect the video. The video was squaring with Mercury when this happened too. The video that came out, like I said, was going to be something unexpected. It was going to like be like, what the hell is this? And that's exactly what it was. This is still happening. But at 22 degrees, it's like this energy of like going in for the kill, like trying to like hit something home, like hit a home run. And see, the thing is, this is happening late tomorrow night. Like the moon, I mean, not the moon, the sun doesn't move into Pisces until like 11 Eastern time at night. So this is going to be something, if it does come out tomorrow, it's either going to come out tomorrow, like late at night, or it's going to come out early morning, like how they released their termination at like 3 a.m. over here. It's going to, because their Japanese time is so like different, their business hours are different. So it's either going to be very late at night or it's going to be like very early morning. That what if they're deciding to do something, they're going to do it within a couple of days, because Mercury isn't going to stay at 22 degrees very long. Like this is like a do or die mentality that they're going to be getting into, like moving into this. Yeah, exactly. It's like it is a storm forecast. It's a forecast. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I really do not. And I've said this from the beginning. I don't want her to keep going through these things. I don't want her to keep, and literally I say that and I'm like, but I see this. And it's sad. It's like she doesn't deserve to keep going through them having these weak egos and their emotions being hurt and them wanting to like fix their PR by digging her a hole. Like, fix your PR yourself. Just leave her alone. But the only way they can think to fix it, because they're in, see, the thing with Pluto energy, this down here having like Mars and Venus conjunct Pluto still, because they're going to be conjunct till about 8 degrees and then it's going to lessen and move on. But with this being conjunct, Pluto brings obsession. it brings this like pinpoint feeling, and it squaring with Jupiter makes this obsession just, it makes it larger than life. It makes it take over everything. So it can be blinding them to what's happening is their obsession with how they feel about this situation and needing to be right, needing to be the one that stomps somebody down. That's not going to end well. It's not, because all of these feelings of wanting to do these things are in harsh aspect. It means it will not go well. And I know people talk a lot about Jupiter as a great aspect, even if it's harsh, but for them, it has not been kind. It has not been good to them. It's been giving them a lot of coverage because, you know, Jupiter, big coverage. It's been giving them a lot of coverage, but they've been shoving their foot in their mouth consecutively. Every single time. They just keep doing it. And it's not helping them at all. And it's giving them massive coverage that goes well outside their social circle, well outside their community. And people are covering it that have literally nothing to do with the VTuber community. It is outside of the normal circle now. Like, they have stepped well beyond their bounds. Having them have a big find out after the big fuck around. That is literally what it's doing right now. And you see, the thing is with Jupiter, it's always going to bless you. What is blessing them with is cross-cultural knowledge. And that's what Jupiter is like literally all about. Jupiter rules the Sagittarius. It rules the 9th house. Foreign countries, traveling. Same with, like, it's a co-ruler of Pisces. And Pisces also rules far off lands. It's like these cultures that are different from you. It's showing them, hey, you have no experience with this. You have none. You need to learn, because Jupiter's all about learning. It is giving them this massive learning experience when it comes to Western culture in the harshest way, because it's a harsh aspect. And if they don't get in line and start learning what Jupiter wants them to learn, which is like learn other cultures, they're gonna get destroyed. It's literally like it's trying to give them opportunities, because that's what, even in harsh aspect, that's what Jupiter does. It tries to give you like multiple, not just one. It tries to give you multiple opportunities to learn something. If it's in good aspect, it'll come easier. Like, it'll just kind of like be a natural part of your life where you're learning these things and they like kind of like grow with your character as you're growing. But if it's in a harsh aspect, it's like you're gonna get these things, right? You're gonna grow as a person, but you're gonna grow through strife. You're gonna grow through these things that like it ends up being very good for you. Because just think about it. Think about how how big Nijisanji would be if they listened to these lessons. Think about it. If they listen to the fact that, hey, we don't know everything about the West, we need to like put out a statement, say, hey, we only know like these Japanese customs, and actually apologize for the fact that they did not understand things and take accountability for the fact that they really messed things up. That would be the only way to kind of save face and be like, hey, we really didn't understand, because it would really send home the point that a lot of people are making, that maybe it really is a cultural thing and they don't understand. If they put that out and then they own up the fact, like, we really did, like, they need to own up to the fact that they pushed Doki Bird a little too fucking much because they were scared. They need to own up to that too. They need to be very, very upfront with that, which I think would be very hard for a company, but it's the only way to save face, because having a big company breathing down your back is very fucking stressful. So they could easily like come out and say, we should not have put out all the things that we did. It was a huge misunderstanding. It was a big misinterpretation, and they need to take accountability for that. They did not have the proper interpretation. They need to take accountability. They need to come out with these actual things, and then they'd be able to turn it around and then make changes within the company so that this does not happen again, and then get rid of the parties that are responsible for it and show the action of getting rid of them, and then put in their termination notices why they have been terminated. Like, if it is like, you know, suspected like harassment internally and stuff like that. If they did that, that's karma they gotta live with. If there are livers that did these things to her and it's proven and all this stuff, they gotta live with it. If they get fired and a company kicks them to the curb to save their face, that's karma they gotta live with, because they did that. And people should not feel sorry for people having to live through their karma. Like, if you try to get in between that, you're gonna make your shit worse. Back off. If they did it, they made their bed, they gotta lie in it. It's as simple as that. You could love a person to death, but until you let them lie in a bed they made, they will never learn a lesson. And if you guys try to protect them from that, they will just get worse lessons, and then you won't be around for those. So that's pretty much how this goes. Yeah, exactly. Like, I love VTubing, I love anime, I love games, and it's like, the reason this, because I usually don't really get into drama, but the reason this is sticking out to me so much is it lines up perfectly with all the astrology. It is insane. Like, I can just say something and then they do it. And I'm like, what? I'm not saying go do that. I'm saying don't do that. It's the exact thing I'm telling you not to do. And you're going and doing it. Like, this really makes me believe they definitely don't have a fucking astrologer on their team, because they'd be like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, this is like, I said from the very beginning, my very first thing before Niji did any of this, and before they started like correlating with my predictions, I said the best thing for anyone that's feeling like this is them, like this is their energy, is to be quiet. Keep your emotions close to your chest, get the facts, do things privately. Like, I said this from the very beginning. That hypothetical astrologer. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, that's what a lot of this is too, because the reason that this is so loud is because like all the themes go with this, like the bullying and harassment, very Pluto, because that's coercion, that's control, that's being able to meld somebody to something. And that's what like the negative side of Pluto can do, is it can manipulate people to doing things that they want and having control over other people in a way that's not that's not genuine. I kept wanting to say like disingenuous, but I was like, that's not the word, it's the other word. But it's not genuine. So that's why, like, every time I'm saying like I really hope this doesn't happen, because it's another psychological blow to her. Anything dealing with Pluto is going to have a major psychology to it. And if she's going to therapy, if she's dealing with like healing from 2 attempts on herself and like all this other stuff, her psychology isn't really that stable. Like, she might be feeling like she's finally doing better, she's not in that place, but things are very fresh for her. This is like a couple months. There are people that take years to be able to go to therapy and work through things, and it's barely been like a few weeks. And like, this has been like compounded on itself, like constantly, like bam, 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 like one after another, where she's just having to respond to things and go to therapy and like do all this other stuff while still trying to stream, because she really wants to get back to her like own mental flow. It's not, no. But you see, looking at them, the reason I'm saying that I really hope, but I'm not really leaning towards them stopping, is because there's so much emotions and there's so many controlling aspects to this, where people want to control the narrative, people want to control a person, people want to control what someone's saying, people want to control how they look, people want to control, like, it is literally like this whole massive control, instead of like people being accountable and being honest. And I think that's what a lot of people are getting this huge distaste for, because it's like Doki isn't really trying to control things, she's just saying things. And that comes off a lot different than a company that's doing really awful PR and trying to like make people change. You're not going to change people's perceptions. They need to get over this. They are not going to change the perception that they have given people by doing all this stupid stuff for weeks in a row. The only way they're going to change anything is by changing what they've been doing. If they continue to attack her, it will get worse and worse. And I really don't want them to attack her, because I don't want her to be pushed to have to go to a court. I really don't want her to, because it's not going to be short. It'll be ugly and long and really not fair, and it just needs to stop. Well, that's the thing. This would have blown over, but whoever they have interpreting for them, or whoever they have in charge of their PR, their legal team, are just so freaking inept that if they would have been quiet and just let her go, this would have never happened. None of it. It never would have come to the light of day. She just would have left and not said anything, and it's like hunky dory. But this, they have not been doing a good job of sitting and waiting and biding their time for things to blow over. They've been doing the exact opposite. That's why it's like, I really hope they do. I really hope so. But looking at like this right here, this 22 degree is very like, I'm gonna strike out and make sure people hear what I have to say. What would be interesting? Okay. Go with me on my own like astrology conspiracy thing right here. What would be interesting? Because you know the whole thing with how they put out that legal notice that is like from their legal team saying they declare themselves of like not doing anything wrong, and that the livers are not part of the NDA. They can say whatever they want. What there could be a couple ways this could go, right? They said their livers don't have NDA over this. They can say what they want. What if, or both these things could happen because there could be two livers that do different things, right? What if, like, let's just do both scenarios. One liver, this kill or be killed degree, comes out angry, emotional, all this stuff that they want to say about Doki and like trying to discredit her and just like a bunch of things, and the company saying we have no obligation or like legal responsibility for our whoever this is, like saying all of these things, you know, this is their own personal opinion, blah blah blah, like, you know, staying like that stance and just letting someone like put themselves out there for the masses, and like much like the Black video, but it's gonna be someone actually acting on their own. It's gonna be different. It'll be someone like going on the stream and saying things they really shouldn't be freaking saying and just like letting it out. And honestly, I could see Vox doing something like that because he is very like hot-headed and very like full of himself, in the sense that he is very intelligent. And a lot of times when people view themselves as being like highly intelligent, very eloquent, very suave, the word demon, all this kind of stuff, having this perception of yourself and having it be overinflated by a bunch of people constantly telling you how elegant and smart you are can create this false sense of security around your actual intelligence. And him thinking that what he's doing is actually a smart thing to do could be a huge faux pas of him coming out and being like, I'm untouchable and I can say what I want because I know what I'm saying, right? Yeah, they really are. And the thing is, he's had this echo chamber telling him this for years, that he is intelligent, that he's great, and he's all these things. We love you. So his ego, in this sense, would be more on the Delulu side of Pisces. Because Pisces is both the one that breaks the delusion, but also can give the illusion too that makes a person delusional. So he is going to be acting more on the emotional, delusional side of Pisces. I honestly really wish that I could have these people's charts. I would be able to verbatim tell you guys what everyone's going to do if I had their freaking charts. But there's no way of getting their charts because the birthdays they give their livers are fake birthdays. An interesting side note though, if you look at the video of like who they put in that video, they have Lyra, the diplomat of the zodiac. They're usually the ones that the peacekeepers. They had Vox, who is supposed to be a Taurus, being the eloquent, smart one that is like down to earth and like, you know, but also passionately upset, and it's like whatever, you know. And then Ike being like supposedly Gemini, like coming in with like, you know, more of like the messenger type thing, saying that people should know that documents exist, blah blah blah, right? So it's like very different energies. But if you look, Gemini is Mercury and Taurus and Libra are both Venus. And these planets have been running around with Pluto throughout the whole time this has been happening, right? And having well, I'm pretty sure he's Taurus. He's either Taurus or Aries. Either way, it still fits because Mars is there too. I mean, Mars rules Aries. So either way, all those planets have been running along with Pluto, and those are the three main characters they put out as their livers to talk. Like, they could have picked anybody, and these are the people that they pick to, like, go out there and do this stuff. If they picked, because that's another conspiracy thing too, is that they're forced by the company to go out and make a statement. But I feel like out of them, I feel like Ike would have been the one that's more, how can I put this? I feel like Ike's personality, from what I've seen, would be a person that has been more gaslit and manipulated into this role of believing this is what he has to do and he's scared to death. Because I feel like he's intelligent and he knows that there's a lot of laws being broken, and one of the laws being broken is him reading this document. So I think in a lot of ways, there's something in his corner, something's going on to where either he doesn't want to leave the IP he has because he's a musician. I really feel like it would be heartbreaking for him to leave his work when he's put so much work. And I feel like there's an emotional component to that for him that's going to keep him from really making a detached, how can I say, the statement on the situation when he feels like the only thing that's like a core piece of him, he could lose it. So that could be a reason that he's speaking. But I feel like with Vox, it's more pretension. It's more him just feeling that he is above all, that he has had this very inflated ego from his followers, from the way things have interacted with him, the way he's been spoken about for years, and being the biggest following in EN. He has a very pompous thing, and everything he said, down to him laughing under his breath while he was talking, is very much like, even if Ike was pushed to talk in this situation, I feel like Vox wouldn't really have to be pushed. I feel like he would be someone that wants to go out and talk because he just likes hearing himself talk. He likes other people hearing him talk. He just, you know, he has that inflation going, and it's gonna get knocked down a very severe peg. Yeah, he would be. But and then with Alira, I feel like the only reason she said things is because she's a Canadian resident, and because, like, if she read that and she knows Canadian law, she knows that she's going to be brought back home, and the people she listed also live in Canada, so they would have to be brought back home. I think that's why she spoke. Yeah, exactly. And that's another really good point too, that I honestly feel like Doki isn't the only one. Like, I feel like just from what other people have said that have, like, you know, inside, like, privy information, because they have people that are actually in Nijisanji, but they don't say who it is, not to dox them and get them sued and stuff for breaking NDA and talking to them. So it's like a lot of people that have these insider connections have been saying for a long time, people have been getting lawyers in order to be able to leave Nijisanji on graduation terms instead of termination terms, because graduation terms, they don't say anything bad about you, you just leave, it's neutral, it's whatever. Yeah, all allegedly. But with the termination, if you notice, when they put out termination letters, they're slanderous, they break the person down, they make you not want to believe anything the person says when they leave the company, and plus they have an NDA where they're not allowed to even mention the fact that they've had any association with the company whatsoever once they're fired. So it's like this huge crux at it's like all of it is not it. How can I put this? It's almost like sorry, I'm a little hot and it's making it harder for me to think. But if I turn on the fan, it's loud and it like goes into the mic, and it's absolutely atrocious, and it annoys me so much to hear it on videos, and I can only imagine how it makes other people feel. But anyways, all of this to be said that I really feel like certain people are choosing to come forward and say things, especially the ones that are more pompous and full of themselves, especially with how many times he says he thoroughly read the contract. Like, but anyways, there are going to be some people where it's like they aren't saying anything, they aren't coming forward, or they are being made to come forward because they cannot afford to lose the job they have with Nijisanji, even if people think they don't make a lot. There's gonna be people that have medical issues, have family with medical issues, will lose the place they're staying at because maybe they have like paycheck to paycheck rent that they're barely making with Nijisanji, and they wouldn't be able to go out and get a job and they'd be kicked out of their house. There's like so many reasons why people can't just within a couple weeks go, I'm leaving, or step up and say something, because if they step up and say something, they're immediately terminated and they have nothing to fall back on. It's like a lot of them aren't looking at this like, I will have the same reception that Doki did if I leave. Like, I'm pretty much going to assure you that none of them are thinking that they will have the same reception as Doki did if they leave, which in a sense might be true for some of them, but there's a lot of them that would have that same, like, you know, whole community coming around them and trying to help them and stuff. There's a lot of people that would do that for them just because of the fact of everything that's happening. But when you're in a place and you feel like you don't have options, it's really easy from the outside to judge and say that they have options and that they have a choice in what they're doing. I definitely feel that some have more of a choice and more privilege than others. Definitely the ones that don't live in Canada, because they ain't gonna be getting dragged back to Canada as a citizen, so that's already something that some other people have great privilege over. Like, Vox isn't getting dragged anywhere. He doesn't live in Canada. He's from the UK. Like, he's not getting drugged into any of this. He can say whatever he wants because he's a party that's not like under NDA. Like, there's like so much with him, like, where he wouldn't really be a person forced to talk. He would be a person with his huge thing where they wouldn't want to put out there because they wouldn't want him losing people because they're making him money. So if anything, him going out and talking is more of a him thing. Like, I couldn't see Ike really wanting to talk unless he really had to, because say that he does want to leave, even if like it would mean leaving everything he's ever created, and he's like a musician and that's like a huge part of like his whole identity, even if he managed to like break part of that and try to leave, it's like them doing this with him makes it to where if he leaves he would be blacklisted by everyone, so it like really limits his options to what you have as the company. And to be honest with you, that could be a tactic, like another coercion tactic that the company is using, where it's like, we are going to put you up here, you're not going to have anybody if you try to leave us, you only have us. So it's like that isolation thing that comes with like isolating victims and making them feel like they don't have anyone besides you, could also be a tactic too. Yeah, exactly. What a lot of people that have like a lot of power don't want people to realize is that as a group, if people decide something, that's where the power goes. Like, they want people to believe they don't have that power. And what we are seeing here, just from one liver, they have lost over $150 million, and it's still going. Their stock has plummeted to almost like negative, like they've lost almost 20%, like it's some kind of like teen percent right now, I can't remember, but it's like everything's been dropping from one person, something they deem negligible. So it's like, this is not something even in their minds they thought was possible, because it's like, oh, like the people are too separated in order to come together and actually like make a collective decision like this to boycott something. And that's literally what Aquarius energy is with Pluto. It's revolution. It was literally Revolutionary War 200 years ago. We're in the same energy. We're in the same energy of people going, hey, we don't like this, we're revolting. We're in that right now. So if people, companies, whatever, groups do not get on board with the fact that people can be like, yo, I'm not okay with this. I'm going to form a group about this and we're going to be against it. If people don't come to terms with we're in that kind of energy right now, they're going to go down, because Pluto destroys. Like, it levels things to the ground to be rebirthed and built anew. Something completely different. That's what Pluto's here for. And doing that with the power of the people is like, we make our decisions and corpos get leveled to the ground because we all withhold. This is showing them that we can withhold, and when we withhold, people that want to market you will withhold. Artists that want to work with you will withhold. Other communities that support you will withhold. And then that goes outside, and then other people talk about how much a group is holding back from something. And then it creates this bigger reception of people outside the group banding with the people that are against it. It's like, it's a domino effect. Yeah, and this is what this is showing us. And this is at the very beginning of Pluto in Aquarius. Very beginning. This is like a 15 or more year stay that Pluto is going to be in Aquarius doing exactly this type of stuff. This is why I'm trying to say, like, this is with this company, but it's everywhere. Like, it's going to be happening like one after another. I feel like the reason it's happening so harsh with this company is it probably either the CEO, or just like, because the companies, when they're made themselves, can have like birth charts and stuff that show the energy of the company. So either the energy of the company has a lot of like Taurus or Aquarius in there, and it's getting its world rocked by Uranus and Jupiter and Pluto and like all this other Aquarius shit. It's just getting rocked, and it's at a very early degree of it. So it's like they're just getting it like immediately when it starts. So it's like other things that have later degree Aquarius or later degree Taurus and stuff like that, they're gonna start getting their world rocked a few more years into the Pluto. But by then, some of the Taurus stuff is gonna move in the Gemini, and that's gonna be a whole thing on its own.